Recently, there's been a lot of chatter about bringing back NASCAR's old point system and ditching stage racing. While that might seem like a fix to some fans, it could hurt the sport's ability to create standout drivers. This issue came to the forefront after the controversial 2024 Martinsville race. Denny Hamlin, never one to shy away from drama, aired his thoughts on his podcast, Actions Detrimental, diving into everything from controversial penalties to potential race manipulation. The race's turning point was Christopher Bell's bold Hail Melon move on the final lap, mimicking Ross Chastain's famous wall riding stunt. Bell's attempt to secure a spot in the Championship 4 backfired when NASCAR slapped him with a penalty for a safety violation. Hamlin, familiar with such controversies himself, agreed with NASCAR's call. He admitted he didn't like it, but said it was necessary to prevent last-lap chaos from becoming the norm. "They wanted to avoid us wall riding to gain or defend positions," he explained. But Hamlin didn't stop there. He delved into the chaotic final laps, accusing the Chevrolet and Toyota teams of race manipulation. He pointed out how Ross Chastain and Austin Dillon, both Chevy drivers, acted as a protective wall for their teammate William Byron, effectively blocking competitors and ensuring Byron's Championship 4 spot. Meanwhile, Toyota's Bubba Wallace mysteriously slowed down, letting Bell pass him in a move Hamlin found suspicious. "If everything played out naturally, the 24 Byron is out," Hamlin argued, emphasizing how just one car passing Byron could have changed the outcome. Hamlin went a step further, suggesting NASCAR should penalize manufacturers to discourage such tactics. However, he acknowledged the difficulty of enforcing such rules, given NASCAR's reliance on manufacturers. "The question is, what can you do? Maybe take manufacturer points away, but I doubt NASCAR will bite the hand that feeds them," he said. NASCAR is now investigating the actions of Chastain, Dillon, and Wallace in those final moments. While penalties could be issued before the championship weekend, Hamlin isn't optimistic about any major consequences. Removing Byron from the Championship 4 seems highly unlikely, but Hamlin believes there's a need for accountability to prevent similar incidents in the future. Ultimately, the Martinsville chaos highlights ongoing debates about fairness and integrity in NASCAR. Hamlin's candid remarks put the spotlight on issues like race manipulation, stage racing, and the role of manufacturers. As the sport evolves, it's clear NASCAR faces tough decisions to maintain its competitive edge while addressing fan concerns and ensuring fair play. The drama just keeps piling up. Denny Hamlin didn't hold back when he called out NASCAR for its vague and inconsistent rulebook after the chaos at Martinsville. It all started when Elton Sawyer, NASCAR's VP of competition, compared Christopher Bell's penalty to a loose tire situation. Hamlin was quick to call nonsense on that comparison, saying, "That's not true. A tire rolling across the track is clear-cut. A wheel is off, period. This was just a tire wobbling in the wheel well. Totally different thing." Hamlin's main gripe? NASCAR's rules are so loosely written that they can basically be interpreted however NASCAR feels in the moment. They've left the rules so open-ended that it creates these situations where we're always wondering, how are they going to call it this week? Hamlin said. "There aren't enough clearly defined rules, and that's the problem. It's like they just make it up as they go along." Hamlin even compared NASCAR's ambiguity to vague rulings in other sports, like roughing the passer or what counts as a catch in football. But he argued NASCAR's inconsistency takes it to another level. "We've seen cases where two situations look identical, but one gets a penalty and the other doesn't. Fans are frustrated, and honestly, so are the drivers." Social media lit up after Hamlin's comments, with fans backing his criticism. Angry tweets and posts flooded in, with some calling out NASCAR's dismissive attitude toward genuine concerns. One fan sarcastically joked, "Could we be out of touch? No, it's the fans who are wrong," mocking NASCAR's tendency to brush off complaints as irrelevant. Others kept it short and sharp, dropping clown emojis to sum up their feelings on the whole situation. But Hamlin didn't stop at the rulebook. He also took a swing at NASCAR's entire playoff format. He argued that it waters down the sport's true stars instead of rewarding consistent greatness. "You're just diluting your superstars," Hamlin said, highlighting what he sees as a major flaw in the system. All in all, Hamlin's rant has fans and drivers alike questioning whether NASCAR's current direction is doing more harm than good. The mix of vague rules, inconsistent penalties, and a controversial playoff system has left many wondering if it's time for a serious overhaul. Whether NASCAR will listen remains to be seen, but for now, the debate rages on. Steve Phelps recently joined a podcast where some interesting points were raised about NASCAR's current state, especially regarding its playoff system. The host pointed out a controversial issue. While parity might seem like a win for the sport on paper, it's actually stopping NASCAR's superstars from truly shining. Steve Phelps responded with a typical long-winded corporate explanation, but the criticism remains valid. By emphasizing parity, NASCAR is watering down the prominence of its top drivers, making it harder for truly dominant racers to stand out. Denny Hamlin, a prominent voice in the NASCAR world, didn't hold back in addressing this problem. He used Kyle Larson as an example of how the current playoff format can unfairly eliminate the most dominant drivers. Larson, who had the most wins and led in almost every major category, still didn't make it to the Final Four. Hamlin acknowledged that his own team didn't perform well enough to deserve a spot in the Final Four this year, but he emphasized how the system fails drivers like Larson, who consistently excel throughout the season, only to be eliminated in the playoffs. The playoff system, which has expanded from 10 drivers to 16 over the years, has lowered the bar for qualifying, according to Hamlin. With the win-and-you're-in format, a single victory can propel a driver from the bottom of the standings into the playoffs, regardless of their overall performance during the season. Hamlin used Harrison Burton's Daytona win as an example of this, calling out the system for rewarding one-off successes while ignoring poor consistency. Hamlin also criticized NASCAR for dismissing fan frustration. A NASCAR communications rep, Mike Ford, claimed that complaints about the playoff format were just bots spamming online, implying the discontent wasn't genuine. Fans were understandably outraged, quickly taking to social media to prove their frustration was real. "Trust me, we have pulses," one fan wrote, mocking the absurd dismissal of their concerns. The dissatisfaction goes deeper than just the playoff format. Hamlin's comments sparked broader discussions about issues like rule inconsistencies and perceived favoritism towards certain manufacturers. Fans have been rallying behind Hamlin, demanding more transparency and accountability from NASCAR. Many expressed anger toward the decision-makers, with some calling for a complete overhaul of how the sport is governed. Adding fuel to the fire is the ongoing 2311 lawsuit, which pits team owner Michael Jordan against NASCAR's governing body. Fans hope this case will bring accountability to the organization, which they feel has lost touch with its audience over the years. One fan didn't hold back, saying, "I hope NASCAR gets completely trashed in this lawsuit. They've been running the sport into the ground for 20 years. Even team owner Joe Gibbs voiced his frustration after a controversial decision knocked his driver, Christopher Bell, out of playoff contention. Gibbs admitted there wasn't much they could do, stating, "It's over," and expressing his desire to appeal, though acknowledging that the option wasn't available. As NASCAR heads into its championship race at Phoenix Raceway, all eyes are on the drivers still in the running: Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, Tyler Reddick, and William Byron. Hamlin, while not racing for the driver's title, remains invested as a team owner. His driver, Tyler Reddick, will be competing in the number 45 car for 2311 Racing, and a win would be a bright spot in an otherwise tumultuous season. However, the larger issues surrounding NASCAR remain unresolved. Hamlin's outspoken criticism has sparked a much-needed conversation about the sport's direction. Fans are demanding change, and NASCAR must decide how to respond. Will they listen to their audience and make meaningful changes, or will they continue to risk alienating the passionate supporters who keep the sport alive? The next few weeks will be crucial for NASCAR as it faces mounting pressure to address these issues. Whatever happens, It's clear that the sport can no longer ignore the growing discontent among its fan base. Change is not just desired, it's necessary for the future of NASCAR. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.